Booker T. Washington was born on April 5, 1856, near Hales Ford, Virginia. He was raised by his mother and stepfather. He worked as a servant for General Lewis Ruffner and his wife, Viola. His mother, Jane, was a cook on the plantation. Washington had a half-brother, John, and a sister, Amanda. Mrs. Ruffner encouraged Washington's education. Washington attended college at Agricultural Institute in Virginia. After he studied law and theology, Washington settled on a career in education. After college, Washington returned to live in West Virginia, where he taught Sunday school at a Baptist church. He married his first wife, Fanny Smith, at the church in 1881. Because of his background of once being a slave himself, he pioneered the development of higher education for African Americans. He fought for racial compromise and stressed the need for economic opportunity for blacks. He was recommended to African Americans who were looking to establish a school. He was the first president of the Tuskegee Institute. It was a school formed in 1881 for educating African Americans.
In May 1881, near the end of Washington's first year of teaching at Hampton, the following correspondence crossed General Armstrong's desk. Dear General Armstrong, would you be good enough to nominate for the citizens of Tuskegee, Alabama, a white teacher who could come and start a school for the colored folk here? General Armstrong replied,
I have no white teacher available. I do have a Negro graduate of Hampton, a Mr. Booker T. Washington, who has proved his capacity. I recommend him to you highly. I didn't know for a time that I was the second teacher to come to Tuskegee. The first one left when he saw that there was no school building, no land secured, no money for books or equipment. The state legislature had voted money to pay a teacher. But that's all. The first years were hard. The first class I organized had 30 students.
Washington knew that his school could not survive long in a dingy shanty. A plantation was placed on the market for $500, but the landlord would accept $250 down, and the rest in a year.
As he got older, he remained president of Tuskegee Institute. Washington's health deteriorated rapidly. He collapsed in New York City and was brought home to Tuskegee. He died on November 14, 1915, at the age of 59. He was buried on the campus of Tuskegee University near the University Chapel. In 1900, the story of my life and work was written and published. It was written for Southern African American readers. Up From Slavery was written less than a year after his first book. One of the themes Washington uses in this book is the value of education. He states in Chapter 1, the picture of several dozen boys and girls in a schoolroom engaged in study made a deep impression upon me, and I had the feeling that to get into a schoolhouse and study in this way would be about the same as getting into paradise. Washington's ideas on curriculum reflect the belief that the personal experiences of the student should serve as the basis for their educational experiences. Washington said in his book, Up From Slavery, I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. One motive that inspired Washington was to create a separate African American economy, since many major white-owned businesses, including banks, refused to serve African Americans or provide them with equal services and benefits. Washington kept the attitude that through self-help one could rise from poverty to riches. In Up From Slavery, he said, it means a great deal to start off on a foundation which one has made for himself. Washington believed all experiences were educational, and education is a continual process throughout one's life. A belief that Washington had was that the school system should train the students to be productive, employable, and useful citizens. He once said, I have begun everything with the idea that I could succeed, and I never had much patience with the multitudes of people who are always ready to explain why one cannot succeed. On On September 18, 1895, Washington gave the Atlanta Exposition speech at the Cotton States and International Exposition. The speech laid the foundation for the Atlanta Compromise, which was an agreement between African American leaders and Southern white leaders in which Southern blacks would work weekly and submit to the white political rule, while Southern whites guaranteed that blacks would receive basic education. The speech was presented before a predominantly white audience and has been recognized as one of the most important, influential, and controversial speeches in American history. After giving this speech, Washington became an extremely popular speaker and gave speeches around the United States. He also helped form the National Negro Business League to support African American entrepreneurs and was invited to the White House for dinner with President Theodore Roosevelt. Washington showed that he was proud to be an African American. He said, "From any point of view, I had rather be what I am, a member of the African American race, than be able to claim membership with the most favored of any other race." People called Washington the Wizard of Tuskegee because of his highly developed political skills and his creation of a better environment for African Americans.